Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan Little for PokerNews.com. Make sure you check out PokerNews.com for everything you need pertaining to poker news. It's there for you. Make sure you stay in the know. Today we're going to be reviewing a hand from High Stakes Duel 2, round 2, between two of the absolute biggest names in poker, Phil Hellmuth and Daniel Negreanu. Daniel Negreanu lost their first match, and spoiler, I'm about to tell you who won the second one. If you don't know who won the second one, you may want to go somewhere else. Go to PokerGo.com and watch it. It was not nearly as long as the first match, which took forever. This one was a very, very solid match. It was a lot of fun. Daniel Negreanu got Hellmuth down to about half a starting stack. But then Hellmuth got a little bit steamed up and went into zoom mode and ran a bunch of bluffs. I'm going to be covering a bunch of those bluffs in the near future at my YouTube channel, youtube.com/pokercoaching. So make sure you go there, click the like and subscribe buttons below, and also click the notification bell, because I have lots and lots of great content coming out very soon for you. For those who do not know Phil Hellmuth, it's this guy standing up here. He gets no respect in the poker world. How do I get respect, Daniel? Tell me. I don't know. Just show up and keep winning. Phil Hellmuth somehow shows up and wins all the heads-up matches. He has been absolutely crushing it. I interviewed him, and Negreanu actually, on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/pokercoaching. Make sure you check that out. Hellmuth opened up very, very much and discuss like why he acts the way he acts sometimes, how he feels, and you know, he wants the respect of his peers, and he doesn't get why he doesn't get it. He shows up, he plays a decent amount, he wins pretty much every time. What's going on? What do I got to do? So that's player one, 15 World Series bracelets, $24 million in live tournament earnings against this guy sitting here, nice and calmly, Daniel Negreanu. He has $42 million in live tournament earnings, 6 World Series of Poker bracelets, but he's been on a bit of a heads-up downswing. He lost round 1 to Phil Hellmuth. He lost a long, drawn-out match with Doug Polk. He's trying to get a win under his belt, and, well, he did not get it today. Zoom, Phil Hellmuth ran him over for a bunch of chips. And today we're going to be reviewing a hand that I think Negreanu could have just won the match on. And you know, maybe Daniel would disagree with this. He pops in the comment section every once in a while. Thank you, Daniel, for getting in here and interacting with me, my students, and we appreciate you. This is a spot where I think Negreanu should have won it all. Let's take a look at this hand. We are playing 150, 300, so we are 321 big blinds deep. So 320 big blinds deep, something like that. We're very deep stacked. You may ask, how in the world are you going to get in 300 big blinds? I'm about to show you. In this hand, Hellmuth limps. How are you going to get 300 big blinds into a limp pot? I'm about to show you. Hellmuth limps. Negreanu raises to 3 big blinds. Did I say that right? Hellmuth limps. Negreanu raises to 3 big blinds. Hellmuth calls with a 6-4 of hearts. Perfectly fine. Perfectly standard, okay? A-okay so far. Flop comes 10, 6, 3, giving Phil Hellmuth middle pair. This is a spot where we have a pretty easy call with the middle pair. So far, so good. If any of this stuff is unclear to you, by the way, I have a quiz available for you completely for free. Check it out at pokercoaching.com/fundamentals quiz. I will put a link in the comment section below. If you can get 10 out of 10 right there, you are a crusher and you're playing great. If you get 2 out of 10 right, you probably need to study up. All right, now the turn comes, the Jack of Hearts, and Negreanu pulls out the big bet, 3,100 into the 4,200 pot. Again, we are playing 90,000 behind, so super deep stacked here. I think it would be a little bit tight to fold the 6-4. I realize 6-4 is not great, but there are a lot of draws available, and there's no guarantee Negreanu's just going to blast you on every river. Also, if you get a 6 or a 4, you're almost certainly good. Anytime there are a lot of draws available, and notice here that Negreanu could easily have one of the various open-ended straight draws or gut shot straight draws. He could also have one of the club draws, and he could just have a few random stone bluffs every once in a while. Like maybe he takes a hand like Queen 2 and decides to bluff it. Not that he necessarily has a ton of those pre-flop, but maybe he does. That said, this was a limped and then small raise pot. Typically, whenever Hellmuth limps and the opponent raises to 3 big blinds, they often are pretty value heavy. And, you know, you got to be a little bit careful that you're just running into a lot of ace-jack, king-jack, queen-jack, pocket aces, pocket kings, pocket queens here. That said, deep stacked in position, I don't really see how you can fold this 6-4. Hellmuth does call. So far, so good. He studied the fundamentals quiz. River is the 4 of diamonds. And now, Negreanu bets 13,000. He pulls out the big overbet. So what do we do here? Facing this big overbet for 13,000 into the 10,000 pot in Phil Hellmuth's shoes, when you river 2 pair, what do we do? I want you to think about this, and I want you to pause the video and write in the comment section below what you would do in this spot. Would you make a big fold with the 2 pair? Would you call? Would you put in a small raise to, let's say, 28,000? Or would you put in a big raise? Let's say all in, all the marbles. What would you do in this scenario? Pause the video and write what you would do in the comment section below. All right, did you do it? I hope so. Going through this active learning process is going to go a long way to helping you improve your poker skills. At my training site, pokercoaching.com, we have over 1,000 interactive quizzes, kind of like this, where I ask you what you would do in this particular spot. And then, once you commit to an answer, I tell you why your answer was good or bad. And if you start getting all of these right, you're probably a really, really strong poker player. You can check that out completely for free at pokercoaching.com/free. In this spot, when your opponent overbets the river, that is very often a sign of either a very strong made hand or a bluff. It's going to be very polarized. So what does a polarized range look like here? There's lots of bluffs available, clearly. All the busted club draws, all the busted straight draws, right? Notice that 7-5 got there, and I think that is maybe in Negreanu's range. Again, I'm not entirely sure what Negreanu is raising to 3 big blinds over a limp with. He could also have the 5-2. Maybe not in the small raising range, I'm not sure. Some people may think, why in the world would you raise with 5-2? But typically when you're raising, you are going to want to be, you always want to have some junk in the small raising range and the big raising range over a limp. So it is possible, even if it doesn't seem logical. Negreanu could also easily have pocket jacks, pocket tens, or jack 10, right? I mean, that's the problem here, is that of the made hands, there are some made hands that are really, really strong that actually beat Phil Hellmuth's really good river 2 pair type hand. So I think in this scenario, even if you think Negreanu's range contains some hands like aces, kings, queens, and ace-jack, which is reasonable, I think this is still probably just a call. Maybe you could go for the small raise and potentially get called by aces, kings, queens, and ace-jack. But then again, Negreanu has made it very clear that he's just not paying off Phil Hellmuth whenever he wants to put in a lot of money on the river, unless he has a really good hand. So I'm not even sure Negreanu would pay off against any raise size with a hand like pocket aces in this scenario, even though all the draws missed, because I think he thinks Phil Hellmuth really doesn't run all that many bluffs. So because he is probably not going to pay off against a raise all that often with a worse hand, again, that may be wrong too. It's important to realize you could be wrong with your assessment. If he's not going to pay off with the overpair type hands, though, I think this is just an easy call, because whenever you do raise, you're pretty much only going to get action when you're in bad shape. So I think this is a call. But Hellmuth disagrees with me, and he goes for the 28,000 raise, which I think is fine. You may say, why not go for the big raise? Well, if you go for the really big raise, unless Negreanu gets in calling station mode, he's just going to fold out everything besides like 2 pair and better, right? I got to presume, and most 2 pair beats the 6-4. So I would hate a giant raise here against a good, strong, world-class player who is going to run lots of bluffs here, especially a lot of big bluffs here, recognizing they have hands like busted flush draws, busted straight draws, all of which would at least like to bluff. Maybe the big raise makes a lot of sense. But in this scenario, I think if you are going to raise, I like the small raise. I think it's reasonable. That may end up getting called by a hand like aces, kings, queens, etc. But now, down Negreanu gets a little tricky and clicks it back to 43K. What is happening here? On the river, 13K, 28K, 43K. They are going to war. They are battling. And now, Phil Hellmuth has found himself in a pickle. This is either a call or a fold. You cannot re-raise here. That would be insane. When Negreanu clicks it back, Negreanu is essentially announcing, in my mind, I have a really good value hand. And I am happy to give you infinite pot odds. You always have to ask yourself, when your reasonable opponent makes a play, what are they trying to accomplish here with that play? Whenever they're giving you amazing pot odds, they're basically saying, I'm going to give you amazing pot odds, and you still can't beat me. Well, if that's the case, then you should probably start making a lot of folds, huh? I'm not going to say this is definitively a fold, because maybe Negreanu clicks it back here with some bluffs every once in a while. Maybe some worse hands. Maybe he has 6-3 or something every once in a while, or maybe he clicks it back with aces. I don't really think so. But in this spot, it's a miserably bad scenario, right? We have to put in, what, 15,000 to try to win 95, so you have to win 1 in 6 times, something like that. Are you good 1 in 6 times here? I don't think so. So anyway, Hellmuth calls, which, you know, I don't necessarily hate. And he has shown the pocket jacks for top set of Dale Negreanu, and Hellmuth gets down to half of a starting stack. And from here, this is where he gets a little bit tilty, a little bit riled up, and goes into zoom mode. We're going to be covering those videos, or those hands in the future, in videos at my YouTube channel, youtube.com/pokercoaching. Make sure you go there, click like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to make sure that you stay up to date on all of these fun hands we're going to be covering in the very near future. My question here, though, for Dale Negreanu, is should you have just jammed the river? Now, pretty cool spot. Imagine Hellmuth raises the river, as he did. Negreanu clicks it back, and then Hellmuth shoves all in. I'm not going to say Negreanu should fold, but I think it's very possible that he actually should fold, because Hellmuth may only put his money in this spot on the river with the nuts. To be fair, when it goes bet, raise, re-raise on the river, you're usually looking at somebody, one of the two players has the nuts. There's actually this video I reviewed a while back on my YouTube channel where Kym Lim had quads on the river in a very small pot, very similar to this, and then on the river, it went bet, raise, re-raise, and she eventually folded the quads in a spot where the opponent could have 2 combinations of the straight flush. And I think it's probably a good fold. A lot of people in the comment section did not think it was a good fold. They think, why would you fold quads? But turns out, whenever it goes re-raise, like, what do you think they're doing, right? Unless they're just insane. No reason to think they're insane. So in this scenario, if Hellmuth does rip it in, he may actually only show up with straights here. And of course, he could have the 5-2 and the 7-5, right? I think it's certainly reasonable. And is he going to run any sort of insane bluffs? Probably not. Almost nobody runs insane bluffs. So I'm venturing to say that I think Negreanu probably would have folded if Hellmuth jammed here. Now, my question is, instead, though, right here, once Hellmuth raises this river to 28K, should Negreanu just go all in with the pocket jacks? If Hellmuth does have a set, pocket 10s, 6s, 4s, or 3s, do we think he's actually going to fold here with a set? And I don't think so. Given I think Hellmuth thinks that Negreanu runs too many bluffs, or at least is going to overplay his hand. So if he thinks that, and Hellmuth's sitting here with a set, do you really think he's going to fold to a jam on the river? Like, I don't think so. If he went for a thin value raise with like ace-jack, will he fold to a shove? Probably. But notice he probably doesn't have all that many ace-jacks because Negreanu has a jack and a jack in his hand, right? So in this scenario, I think it's really likely that Hellmuth has some sort of either set or 2 pair whenever he raises this river, or he just has some total nonsense bluff. If he has a nonsense bluff, it doesn't matter, right? And for that reason, I think Negreanu should have just shoved it all in. Now, I don't know if Hellmuth would have called the all in or not. If he had a set, I bet he would have. If he has this bad 2 pair, maybe he finds a fold. But given there are lots and lots and lots of busted draws available, and I kind of think Hellmuth would not, quote unquote, put Negreanu on too many like low straights, I think he'd find a call of the set here every time. And I do think it is possible for him to have a set, even given the way he played. Let's just always make sure that makes sense. Limps pre-flop, would he limp with 3s pre-flop? Sure. Would he call a flop bet with 3s? Sure. Would he call a medium turn bet with 3s? Sure. Would he raise the river with 3s? I mean, he raised it with 6-4, so why wouldn't he raise it with 3s, right? So I think all of that does make a lot of sense. So I think in this scenario, Negreanu needs to have like his full greed mode going here, and he needs to rip it in and just try to get paid. And I mean, if you know he's going to fold every time, if you know Hellmuth is going to fold to the shove every time, then I guess this raise is better. But I think in this spot, I would have gone for the full value. It is kind of interesting to think, though. If Negreanu really does think that he's going to be able to just slowly grind down Hellmuth, I guess you don't want to risk it in the off chance that he actually does have the straights. But top set's really, really good, and I think you have to go for it. I fully do realize, by the way, that Hellmuth could have the straight. I want to make that clear. He could have it. The thing is, though, is that he has to call the turn big bet with a gut shot, a bad gut shot. And if Hellmuth has shown us one thing in this these high stakes matches that you can watch on Poker Go, he doesn't really call with draws when he's getting bad odds. He doesn't do a whole lot of like floating with the bad draws, I don't think. So for that reason, if anything, I would discount the gut shot straight draws here, unless of course it was like 7-5 of clubs, right? So anyway, Negreanu does get paid. He wins a nice pot, but I think he could have won almost all the money here. And if he won almost all the money here, he probably would have won the match. Instead, Hellmuth went in zoom mode, grinded it back up, and eventually beat down Negreanu for the second time. That's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, come back next time. Good luck in your games. Have fun. And I'll talk to you next time. Yeah, I'm talking to you.